Champions League predictions are back. Welcome back to yet another video, everyone. I hope you are well. Today we are doing our first set of predictions for the first phase of games in the new Champions League phase instead of group stages. Let me run you through how the competition has changed this year. So then, in the Champions League this season there are 32 teams. That means more teams and therefore more games. Instead of 8 groups of 4, we have one big league of 32 teams, with each team playing 8 different games, 4 at home and 4 away. And these games are seeded, so they each get to play teams from every single pot twice. Before we get into the predictions, guys, and there's 16 games to go through, which means a lot of predicting, so we're going to move fast. Feel free to share your predictions down in the comments. I have listed the fixtures in the description if you want to copy and paste that and comment your predictions down below. Make sure to drop a like. We will go for 1,999 likes on this video. Do make sure to support us and make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. It takes 2 seconds and you can help this channel grow. Like, subscribe, and let's get into the predictions. So then, first up we have Juventus versus PSV. This is a really interesting matchup. Juventus, of course, were in pot 2, PSV from pot 3. PSV currently doing really well in the Eredivisie. Juventus currently second in Serie A. Both teams are strong in their respective divisions. Juventus have great players like Vlahovic and Bangula. PSV have Bakayoko, De Jong, Lozano. There's plenty of great players on the pitch for this one. I think it'd be a good game. I do think Juventus will just win this. I'm going to go 2-1. I think the home advantage will be crucial here, and Juventus will get their season started in the Champions League with 3 points. Share your predictions for Juventus versus PSV. Next up, we have Young Boys versus Aston Villa. Aston Villa back in the Champions League. Incredible for them. Let's start with Young Boys, who've not had a great start to their season in the Swiss League. Currently not picking up many points right now. Young Boys do have players like Jan Vula, Cedric Itten as well, and they did come into this through pot 3. Aston Villa through pot 4. They were absolutely fantastic in the Premier League last year, and with Unai Emery, they do have a manager who is familiar with playing in these European competitions. It's a massive game for Aston Villa. They've got some difficult games coming, but I think this one is winnable. It's away from home. Every away game in this competition is going to be difficult, but I do think Aston Villa will get the job done. I'm going to go Young Boys 0, Aston Villa 2, which would be a fantastic start. And can you imagine if Aston Villa get through to the knockout phases, especially if they were to get far, like the quarterfinals? They've just got too much quality with the likes of Watkins, Bailey, McGinn. I think Aston Villa will win this game comfortably and make a good return to European football. Next up then, and we have Bayern Munich versus Dinamo Zagreb, and Bayern Munich have had a really strong start to their respective division in the Bundesliga. They came into this as a pot 1 team. They are seeded as one of the strongest, and with the likes of Kane, Elise, Muller, Gnabry, I just think they've got way too much for Dinamo Zagreb. Don't get me wrong, Dinamo Zagreb have good players like Sandro Kalenovic, and they are a good team in the Croatian league, but I just think Bayern Munich will be too strong, and I think they're going to score a few goals. Bayern Munich 3, Dinamo Zagreb 1 is my prediction for this one. Do share your thoughts and your predictions down in the comments. I just think Bayern Munich are going to be way too strong, and I would expect them to get quite far in the competition this year. On to the next one. We have AC Milan versus Liverpool. What a matchup this is. This was the Champions League final back in 2005 in Istanbul, when AC Milan were 3-0 up and Liverpool came back to win on penalties. An incredible game. Coming into this game, I do feel like they've had contrasting starts in their division. AC Milan have started fairly slow. I know they've got good players like Rafael Leao, Pulisic. They could do some damage here, but Liverpool have been really strong so far in the Premier League, and I do want to see Arne Slot go really far in this competition with Liverpool. We all know the quality that they've got with Salah, Trent, Robertson, Van Dijk. They've just got quality everywhere, Diaz, Alisson, but it is difficult with it being away from home, so I will go Liverpool to win 2-1 as my prediction for that one, but I do feel fairly confident that Liverpool will win in some way, shape or form. Share your thoughts and predictions for AC Milan versus Liverpool. Next up, we have Real Madrid versus Stuttgart. Real Madrid, of course, the winners of the Champions League last season after they beat Borussia Dortmund 2-0 in the final, and they've just got so much quality with the likes of Mbappe and Vinicius, and they did come into this through pot one. They're going to be one of the favourites to win this competition, if not the favourites. As for Stuttgart, a decent team. Undav, Demirovic, got a couple of decent players, not had the best start to their league season so far, and they did come into this through pot four. I feel like Real Madrid will get the job done quite comfortably. Real Madrid 3-0 for me. I think Stuttgart are not a bad team, but this is just the most difficult game you can probably get in this competition. I do fancy Real Madrid to go far. 3-0 is my prediction. Next up then, and we have Sporting Lisbon versus Lille. A really interesting match this. Sporting Lisbon, really strong Portuguese team. A decent season last year. They've got off to a good start this time round as well. Of course, I do need to highlight players such as Victor Gyökeres. He is a very dangerous player and really proving his worth now. Lots of Premier League teams were interested in him. They also have the likes of Trincao, Pote as well. Lille have a couple of decent players like Diakite and Jonathan David. They're not a bad French team. I just think Sporting Lisbon will win this with the home advantage as well. And I do think Victor Gyökeres will probably score as well. I'm going to say Sporting Lisbon 2, Lille 1. That is my prediction for that one. Share your thoughts. How far do you think either of these teams are going to go in this competition? I'd love to see Sporting get through the league phase. Next up then, and we have Bologna versus Shakhtar Donetsk. Interesting this, Bologna through pot 4, Shakhtar Donetsk through pot 2, currently mid-table in the Ukrainian league. Plenty of decent players like Danilo Sikan and Matvienko, of course. I think Shakhtar Donetsk might win this one. Bologna do have some good players like Castro and Orsolini. I think they will score. I'm going to go Bologna 1, Shakhtar Donetsk 2. That's my prediction for that one. I think the Ukrainian team will win this away from home by 2-1. The next game is Sparta Prague versus RB Salzburg. RB Salzburg currently doing quite well in the Austrian league. Decent players like Musa Yeo, Mads Bistrup as well. I think RB Salzburg have got to be the favourites for this one. They were through pot 3, whereas Sparta Prague come into this through pot 4, not considered as strong potentially. Decent players though, with players like Birmancevic and Victor Olatunji, they might get a goal. I might go for another 2-1 away win here. I'm just going to go with RB Salzburg to win this one though. I've still not predicted a draw yet. I'm going to have to get one in soon, but I'm going to go for the away team here. Share your thoughts in the comments. Next up then, and we go to Celtic Park as Celtic take on Slovan Bratislava. Really interesting this. Celtic, they've got to be favourites here. They've come into this through pot 3, Slovan Bratislava through pot 4, and Celtic, as we all know, very strong in the Scottish Premier League. I mean, just before the international break, they smashed Rangers 3-0, who were meant to be their closest challengers. I would be interested to see if Celtic get through this league phase, and I think they're going to win this game. They've got to make sure they get some points at home, and with the likes of McGregor, Kyogo and Maeda, I think they're going to win this game. By no means is it going to be easy. With players such as Tigran Barsegyan, Slovan Bratislava are no pushover. I think they're currently doing really well in the Slovakian league, but I'm going to go Celtic 2-1 on this occasion. I love a 2-1 prediction, but I just think Slovan Bratislava might score, but Celtic will win. Share your thoughts down in the comments for that one. Next up, we have Club Brugge versus Borussia Dortmund. Borussia Dortmund, of course, got to the final of this competition last year where they lost to Real Madrid. Quite unfortunate, actually, because I thought they played quite well. This season, they've started okay in the Bundesliga. Lots of great players there, as we know, with Brandt, Marlon, Gittens as well. I think Borussia Dortmund have got to be strong favourites to win away at Club Brugge, who are currently doing quite well in the Belgian league. They've got Solis, Olsen, decent, but I'm not going to go for another 2-1 prediction. I'm going to go Club Brugge 0, Borussia Dortmund 2 as my prediction. And Borussia Dortmund come into this through pot 1. I think they could be a strong team in the competition this year. Keep an eye on them. Next up, and we have Manchester City versus Inter Milan. This was the Champions League final just a year or two ago now. And really interesting this. They've both come into this through pot 1. Inter Milan currently doing really well in Serie A. Got great players like Thuram, Barella. But Manchester City are just so powerful. I mean, it's probably between them and Real Madrid as who is the best team in the world right now. Manchester City have just so much quality, with Gundogan coming back, Haaland, Kevin De Bruyne. I don't need to tell you, they're just so strong. I think they're going to win this game. I'm going to say 3-1 to Manchester City. I think they might concede, but I think they're going to win most of their games in this Champions League phase. And I do think they're going to get automatically through to the next round. So Manchester City 3, Inter Milan 1. Share your predictions down in the comments for that one. Next up then, and we have Paris Saint-Germain versus Girona. Really interesting this. PSG, always a lot expected of them. They are currently doing well in Ligue 1 and they came into this through pot 1 as well. They're so strong. Girona, though, really good last season. Fair play to them. They have started this season in La Liga fairly strong as well. They've got Abel Ruiz, Ivan Martin as well. But PSG have players such as Kolo Muani, Bradley Barcola. You also got the likes of Dembele. I think PSG are going to win. I think Girona might score. I'm going to say PSG 3, Girona 1. That's my prediction. PSG were a bit strange in the Champions League last year. Only just got through their group with that late goal against Newcastle being really important in the end. I think this time round they're going to be a bit more comfortable. PSG 3, Girona 1. Red Star Belgrade take on Benfica next. An interesting matchup. The home team have players such as Undayi, Bruno Duarte as well, currently doing well in the Serbian league, whereas Benfica currently just outside that top 4 in the Portuguese league, but have players that we all know such as Otamendi, Di Maria as well, so well-known players from there. I think I'm going to go for a draw here. 1-1. I'm finally going to go for a draw. Do be sure to share your thoughts on Red Star Belgrade versus Benfica. I do fancy Benfica a little bit more, but they are away from home, so I'm going for a draw. Next up then, it's Feyenoord versus Bayer Leverkusen. Interesting this. Feyenoord currently doing okay in the Dutch league. Santiago Jimenez, of course, is a decent player, whereas Bayer Leverkusen, fantastic last year in the Bundesliga. Currently doing okay. Got Frimpong, Schick, Florian Wirtz. I think they're going to do quite well here, and I really do like Xabi Alonso. I'm going to go Feyenoord 1, Bayer Leverkusen 3. I think they're going to win this one. Share your thoughts in the comments. After that, we have Atalanta versus Arsenal. Really interesting this. Arsenal, can they finally get their hands on a Champions League trophy? They're going to have to do well. There's so much quality in this competition this year, but Arsenal are a quality team. They come up against Atalanta, who are currently not doing great in Serie A. They came into this through pot 2. They've got players such as Scamacca, but Arsenal, as we all know, with the likes of Saka, Havertz, Trossard, Odegaard, I think they're just too strong. I'm going to go... I don't think it will be easy. This is such a difficult competition. I'm going to say Atalanta 1, Arsenal 2. I think they'll get the win, and that's the most important thing, but I don't think it will be straightforward. Next up then, Atletico Madrid take on RB Leipzig. Atletico Madrid currently doing fairly well in La Liga. They came into this through pot 2. They've got Griezmann, they've got Conor Gallagher now, they've also got Llorente. RB Leipzig have players such as Openda and Xavi Simons. They're a decent team. I think Atletico Madrid will just win this one. I'm going to say Atletico Madrid 2, RB Leipzig 1 as my prediction here. Atletico Madrid are always a team you think will get quite far in this competition, so I do think they'll get off to a winning start in the league phase. Next up then, and it's Brest versus Sturm Graz. Interesting game. If I'm being totally honest, I don't know a lot about either of these teams. I know a few of their players. They've both come into this competition in pot 4. It's going to be really difficult for either of these to get through this league phase. Remember, if you finish as high as 16th, you have a chance of getting into the knockout phase, you know, the second round. And to be fair, this is a big game for either of them to win. Brest currently mid-table in Ligue 1 in the French league. They've got players such as Camara, Castillo as well, whereas Stuttgart's currently doing well in the Austrian league, and they've got players such as Kiteshvili and Zakaria. I think this could be a draw. Both teams really need a win, but I'm going to go 1-1 between Brest and Stuttgart. Share your thoughts on that game down in the comments. That's a really difficult one to predict. And then finally, the last game is Monaco versus Barcelona. Barcelona currently doing really well in La Liga. They're scoring lots of goals. They've got players such as Pedri, Yamal, Lewandowski. Really, really dangerous team that could do well in the competition this year. Monaco currently just inside the top 4 in Ligue 1. They got Mbolo, they got Minamino. I think they might score, but Barcelona look really, really strong, and I think they've got lots of goals in them. Going to go Monaco 1, Barcelona 3. I think Barcelona are just going to be too strong, and they're going to get the win, and it'd be a good start to the league phase for them. So share your thoughts on the final game there, Monaco versus Barcelona. And if you haven't already shared your predictions for the other games, get them down in the comments. So then guys, that wraps up the first set of predictions for the new Champions League phase. As I say, do share your predictions. There's plenty of interesting matchups there with some big teams playing each other and some outsiders playing each other. Get your thoughts down below. Make sure to drop a like. Let's go for a big like target, 1,999 likes. And do make sure to subscribe if you want to see more Champions League predictions for the second round of league games. I will see you in the next one. Take care. Peace out.